I want to add some live plants to my Brazilian Rainbow Boa enclosure. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but I couldn't think of a way to do this that would be very easy to do. This is a glass enclosure, which means I can't bolt pots to the side like you might in a wood enclosure. I don't want to use up floor space with live plant pots. So I've come up with a weird solution. It's an interesting solution. I actually have no clue if it's going to work. So if you're watching this right now, that means it probably worked. But as of right now, I have no clue if it's going to work. We're going to try it, and maybe this will give you an idea for something that you might be able to do in the future. All right, well, although it may look like I'm building some kind of potato gun, this is gonna be my plant pot, which is kind of unusual, but I'm gonna be using this, and ideally I'm gonna be hanging this on the back wall of the enclosure, and then I'm gonna have plants growing out of it. I'm just really testing this theory to see if it works. Right now, a theory is all it is. So I'm gonna have vine plants growing down. Inside, it's gonna be substrate to grow the roots, and we're gonna see if this works. This may be a total failure. So right now, if you're completely confused, that's totally okay. Hopefully this makes sense as we go through. The first thing I need to do here is I'm gonna drill just 4 holes where the plants are gonna grow out of. So I have an 1/8 inch drill bit, and we're gonna make those holes. Okay, so now that you see these 4 holes here, that's where my vine plant is gonna grow out of. Now, hopefully this makes a little bit more sense now that this is done. I'm gonna cap one end like this, and I'm actually also gonna drill a few holes in the bottom here to act as a drain so moisture doesn't get stuck in here. I'm gonna drill that. And then I'm gonna also add this fitting on the other side, something like this. That way I can water the plants through this pipe. So this is gonna hang on a back wall like this at a slight angle, so when I water it at one end, it's gonna trickle down, water all the plants, and then any excess water can drain out of here. It'll just fasten like that on the wall, and then the plants are just gonna grow out of those holes. All right, so my back cap has been drilled a few times, and it's just gonna allow some airflow at the back of this, and some water will drip out of it, I'm sure, but mainly it's just so it's not an airtight seal at the bottom. This just gives a little bit of a breathing room. And now the last thing I need to do is I need to drill holes in the pipe to allow these hooks to hook into it. These are what's gonna hold up the tube itself. Now it's just those self-adhesive hooks from Walmart, and what I'm going to be doing is creating holes like this so I can use these hooks to hook in like that. So it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm not gonna record this part because it's very loud. I'm gonna go out into my balcony to do it, but this is exactly what the end product is gonna look like, and I'm just gonna be using this spade bit and drilling a trench in it like this. Okay, so hopefully now you can kind of see what I'm up to here. I've drilled these 3 holes for the hooks. So the hooks are gonna hook into this pipe, something like this. Of course, the hooks are adhesive, so they're gonna be stuck on the wall, and then I'm gonna hang the flower pot directly onto the hooks. And here's our holes for the vines to grow out of. Again, this is the pipe to water and the drain on this side. Now ideally, so what this is gonna be stuck on the back of the enclosure near the ceiling, so the snake hopefully can't tamper with it, and it will be safe and allow plants to grow down towards the floor. So the next thing we have to do is stick these to the back of the enclosure. And I also decided that I would use a piece of nylon screen underneath the caps on both ends just to keep any of the substrate from falling out. For substrate, I went with coconut husk. Now the main reason I went with coconut husk was, well, for one, it does hold moisture very well, but the main reason was it is a very coarse substrate, and I figured the more coarse the substrate, the more likely water will travel from one end of the tube to the other when I actually water the plants. So for plants, I used golden pothos. Now this is my favorite plant to use in terrariums because I'm terrible at keeping plants alive, and golden pothos are very, very easy to keep alive. I have them in both my day gecko and my crested gecko enclosure. These plants thrive in those environments. Specifically, I like them because they are a more of a viney kind of crawling plant, but they also have aerial roots, which are just roots that grow out of the stems of the plants that allows them to absorb water when they're misted. A lot of the times I don't even water these plants, I just mist them in my gecko's enclosures and they do totally fine. Now the downside is I left this project too late, and I've kind of forgot that where I live you can't buy tropical plants in the winter. No places sell them, or maybe I'd have to go to a specialty greenhouse or something, but I can't find any tropical plants at this time of the year because it's the middle of the winter. So I did snip these from my day gecko enclosure, so I didn't get the best clippings. So there's a chance that these might die. I would have preferred to have a full plant that I could have used and picked certain ones that would have worked perfect for this project. So it's the next day, the plants are starting to wilt a little bit, which is to be expected. Whenever you transplant plants, they're gonna definitely wilt in the first few days for sure, if not the first week or so. The fortunate thing about a Brazilian Rainbow Boa enclosure is that the humidity is so high, which is really good when you're transplanting plants, especially these golden pothos. Like I said, I like golden pothos because they tend to be tough to kill, especially because they have those aerial roots, which means when you mist them, they do absorb some water just from misting them rather than absorbing through the soil. So, but because, as I said earlier, I can't buy tropical plants where I live at this time of the year. I'm gonna have to wait till spring if these die. Now there is a good chance that these die. We're gonna see. I wasn't able to get the best clippings. If they do die, I'm definitely gonna try again. I like the idea. I think it does look pretty cool because of the black background, you can't really see the tube. It just sort of looks like plants are coming down from the ceiling, which I think looks really neat. If they do die, I might try a different soil, but definitely I'll go to the store and buy an actual potted plant, so I have way more clippings to work with. That way I can pick clippings that would fit perfectly in there and have more aerial roots and whatnot. So I'll update you guys in a couple of weeks. If they look like they're gone downhill, I'll update you, and I'll pull them out and we'll throw them in the garbage, and then we'll try again in a few months.